I'm standing here with Leah from Goffstown, New Hampshire, and you have a new Ron Paul project you have been manically working on. I got a little bit of video of you doing it at Porcupine Fest, but you're still fighting hard to move this forward. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, at Porcfest, what you saw me do was go around from site to site and just put a little flyer out to try to get a meetup group. I couldn't find a way to communicate to the mass in a more centralized way. It was frowned upon. So I had to go about an end run and do it that way. And so we had a little meetup, and from that meetup, we discussed there, and we moved on from there with the idea of doing a pub crawl for Ron Paul in New Hampshire. We saw people down in New York that have taken it upon themselves as one of their projects to try to target that demographic of people, the wait staff, the waiters, the waitresses, and to let them know on a personal, very personal level why Ron Paul would be the best person for them to vote for. So they are letting them know that he reintroduced again, what he calls his tax-free Tips Act, where it would say that, your tips should not be subject to income or employment taxes. Because they work like little slaves, and he's always trying to find a way to give everybody a right to keep their own money. And so this is one particular piece of legislation that he's introduced. And I can tell you that the people that I've talked to that work in the industry, when I mention this to them, many of them have never heard of him before at all. They're, for the most part, younger, less involved, less aware, and it's very early in the political season for them. So it's not even on their radar to wonder who's running for office. But when I tell them that if he had his way, this would be the law of the land, it's almost heartbreaking, the look on their face, how it would literally, and this is a quote that I've gotten from several of them now, change my life. That would change my life. Because they work so hard for so little that if they could at least keep everything they made, it would make a tremendous difference in their life. Yeah. So it's an in. I remember at Porcfest, Megan said on her little speech, talk to people on their level. Don't try to inform the wait staff.
You're talking about Megan from Silver Circle?
That's
movie?
right. Yes, and she reprimanded us, not us, but the group, and saying, you don't want to try to talk to somebody about why the Federal Reserve is an evil, tentacled monster if they don't even know what you're talking about. You're just going to lose them. People are going to shut down if they're overwhelmed with information. And you need to talk to somebody at the level that they're at. Well, this is the level that this demographic is at. And so we've started to collect the data, and we're going by county. I have county coordinators now, and we're going to get volunteers for each county, and then hand the information off to the volunteers at their leisure when they have time. Here's 50 places in your county that you can, as you have time, just go in, talk to the staff, leave some literature, have a drink, leave a good tip, and explain why Ron Paul would be beneficial to them, to get them to look into him further.
How would people help you? I mean, how should they reach you if they want to assist you with this process?
Well, we have Facebook page up, and right now there's our first major event, and it goes under the Facebook page, New Hampshire. Ron Paul Pub Crawl New Hampshire edition.
So if they just type that into Facebook, they'll find you.
that page. Saturday night we're having our first major pub crawl where many of us are coming together, and the media has been invited, and we may have anywhere from 30, 40 people, and we already have a series of places lined up. They're waiting for us. They're going to give us drink specials.
Around Manchester?
Yep.
Okay.
This first week it's going to be in Manchester. Yes.
Okay. From
it's the day that.
Well, he'll be here too.
He's going to be here to kick off the campaign officially in the morning. We're going to work during the day, and then we're going to do this at night.
Okay.
So the project is more of an individual thing where we're going to try to cover as many institutions that sell alcohol and food, hair, anybody that gets tips would be the people that we'd want to target.
Right.
And then we're going to come together and have these camaraderie, fun, try to draw a lot of attention with a big crowd on a Saturday night.
Good.
And so anyway, I just got these tip cards in. And one side says, you deserve to keep your hard-earned tips. Your tips should not be subject to income or employment taxes. Ron Paul introduced H.R. 1139, the Keep Your Tips Act. And on the back, I had the Liberty Press.
Can you hold that still?
Yep. We decided to make the back more broad about a bunch of his other positions.
Yeah.
And tried to keep as much information on it as we could on a small space.
Well, now,
so these are for sale, $6, 100, shrink wrapped.
Well, now you were talking also too about the way that we debate with people who may be more sympathetic to the Federal Reserve. So obviously, if we're Ron Paul supporters, we've got opposition. We got people that don't agree with us. What do you think is the best way to approach his opponents that is sort of a win for both sides?
I think that, like, with the issue of the Federal Reserve, just like Megan said, to talk to people where they are, everybody knows that prices are rising. Everybody feels the pinch, but only 1 in 100 understands where it's coming from. They don't understand why everything is more expensive. So, that's a way that you can discuss the issue without going directly to, do you understand this is a cartel that was, creature from Jekyll Island? But just to discuss on a friendly, non-threatening way, boy, I went grocery shopping, man, it's killing me, and it's killing them. And so you have common ground with them right away, and you can use that as a way to ease into, I never realized why prices rise. I never did. I never did either.
Yeah.
I always thought that it was just like a function of time. Yes, of course it cost 5 cents for Grandpa, but that was then, and this is now.
Right.
And time goes by, and of course things always get more expensive with time. I never stopped to question why, so I didn't know. Why would anyone else know?
Well, can you think of a solution, though, that could be a win-win solution for both Ron Paul type people and people who are tied in closely with the Federal Reserve? That's going to take some creativity, but can you think of anything?
I guess I can't at the moment.
Yeah,
people that are tied in closely with the Federal Reserve, you mean like people that are literally interwoven in the power structure?
High-level banksters,
I don't believe there is a
employees of
win-win.
Federal Reserve buildings.
I think that if it stays in place, then they, I guess the only way there could be a win-win is if the change came gradually instead of chaotically and suddenly. And if Ron Paul won with his idea of a Competition and Currency Act, where only right-wing nut jobs transact in gold or silver, whatever currency of their choice, without being harmed by the government for doing so. The change could happen more slowly, and the people that are involved in that hideous institution could find some other way to make their money. But I cannot envision a way where those two opposing sides of the idea of a central bank having control of the currency could find common ground.
Well, I think for me, what I tend to find is that people don't always think about the consequences, the long-term consequences of what they're doing. So I think the people who are high-level Feds or high-level Federal Reserve people, they're winning right now, but the way they'll really win is if there's long-term freedom for their grandchildren in the United States.
Right.
Their grandchildren can live in safety. Right now, their offspring, who knows how many dangers in terms of societal upheaval and stuff like that are facing their families just because of the monetary situation. So they would win if they were to limit the monetary situation, or if they weren't doing as much harm monetarily. I think everybody that they love would be safer, if that makes any sense, just like we would be safer.
Right. I think you're right. If they came to believe that there could be a systematic collapse and that the society could fall into chaos and be dangerous to all of them, even those that right now, live sheltered and safe lives, then they too would stop resist. You know, they would look for a way to bring stability, if like you said, only to save the ones they love.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they think it's possible for it to collapse. They think that they can control this whole thing somehow.
Not forever.
Not forever. I mean, they think they can. I really think they can. I think they think it's possible for them and their friends abroad in the central banks everywhere to keep a lid on all this, and they're so smart. They've been able to figure out how to do it, you know? But, I mean, it's unraveling. It's unraveling across the ocean, and that could be a way that we could all win.
All right, thanks.
It's to change gradually. So anyway, my name's Leah Wolczko. If you want to send me an email, if you want to buy some of these, it's LEAHWOLC like cat, Z like zebra, KO.
And they can find you on Facebook there, too.
And they can find me on Facebook.
Good. All right. Thanks, Leah.
Okay.